I now give the floor to the distinguished permanent representative of Sri Lanka, to be followed by Senegal. Sri Lanka, you have the floor.
Let me congratulate you and other members of the Bureau on your election and be assured of my delegation's fullest support and cooperation during the proceedings of this committee. Mr. Chairman, it is common ground that terrorism constitutes an extreme form of aggression in which non-state actors attack civilians to reach a political objective through the spreading of fear. The threat of terrorism has captured the world's attention, including media depictions, concerns by civil society, government policies, and scholarly analysis. We are all cognizant of the seriousness of the threat that terrorism poses and the effects it has on global peace and security. With the drastic increase in terrorist attacks around the world, it is evident that the time for complacency has long passed. The indiscriminate violence perpetrated by terrorist organizations knows no borders, and its repercussions are felt far beyond scenes of horror. Innocent lives are extinguished in seconds, communities are torn apart, and the very fabric of societies is tested. It is in this critical moment, I say, that we must unite as a global community to combat terrorism. It even represents a threat to our very existence. Mr. Chairman, Sri Lanka, having experienced the devastating consequences of terrorism firsthand, remains committed to the principle enriched in the United Nations in combating terrorism. We firmly believe in upholding the sovereignty, territorial integrity, and the political independence of all nations, while working together to eliminate terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. Mr. Chairman, let's have no misgivings. The threat we faced 30 years ago is not the threats we face today, nor are they the threats we will face in the future. Non-state actors of today are constantly evolving with the use of technology to identify vulnerabilities. It is through our strategic plans that we can address any vulnerabilities and any threats we may face in the future. Mr. Chairman, all said and done, we cannot emphasize more the importance of addressing the root causes of terrorism, which often include socio-economic disparities, political instability, and extreme ideologies. Sri Lanka recognizes that a holistic approach is needed, one that not only focuses on security measures, but also includes the efforts to promote dialogue, reconciliation, and the protection of human rights. We believe that the sustainable peace can only be achieved when these underlying issues are effectively addressed. Sri Lanka also acknowledges the importance of international cooperation, intelligence sharing, capacity building to effectively counter transitional terrorist networks. We encourage member states to enhance their collaboration in this regard while respecting international law and human rights. Furthermore, countering financing of terrorism is crucial to disrupting the operations of terrorist organizations. Sri Lanka calls upon all nations to implement robust financial monitoring and regulations to prevent the flow of funds to terrorist groups. The Sri Lanka's government remains dedicated, Mr. Chairman, to develop anti-terrorism legislation that effectively addresses our national security while respecting international standards and best practices. Mr. Chairman, Sri Lanka also reaffirms its commitment to the United Nations Global Counterterrorism Strategy and encourages all member states to support its implementation. We further call upon the international community to consider the development of a comprehensive convention on international terrorism, which could bridge existing gaps in the legal framework and facilitate stronger international cooperation in the fight against terrorism. Mr. Chairman, in conclusion, Sri Lanka reaffirms its unwavering commitment to the elimination of international terrorism. We firmly believe that only through unity, global efforts, adherence to international law, and addressing root causes can we aspire to create a world free from the scourge of terrorism. Sri Lanka stands ready to collaborate closely with all member states and reaffirms its confidence in the United Nations' pivotal role in coordinating and supporting global counter-terrorism efforts. Mr. Chairman, permit me to conclude by reminding those with such distasteful propensities that there is no life to be found in violence. In spite of temporary victories, violence never brings permanent peace. Thank you.
Thank you for the statement, Mohan. I now